Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to episode 53 of 𝗙𝗵𝗱𝗄𝗃. And today we have Emily and Leslie, and we're going to start off with our favorite or desired side character ship. So I think mine, and this is a change of heart, is Quincy and Cordelia. And the reason why this is surprising to me is because I initially didn't like Cordelia when we first met her because she was mean to Quincy. And I was like, poor Quincy, why are you treating him this way? And now I'm actually writing a fanfic about Quincy that's kind of getting into their heads, and I can see why they would click together, and I'm on board. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of the two together.
Love that. Okay, I'm Emily. So my favorite actual side ship would be Erdene and 𝗏𝗏. But I feel like that's getting popular now, so I want to go for a crack ship, which is Mr. Lamb and Alice, because I think they would be amazing together.
Oh, that would be so cute.
I can absolutely see them heading it off with her sassiness and like probably like outright sexual energy, because you know that lady's freak, and Mr. Lamb being all prim and proper. Like, well, he's in love with his wife still, but I mean, like, he can have fun, so I'm going for that.
His wife is dead. Like, he can honor her memory by being happy.
Exactly, and finding a strong, independent woman.
That might not actually be like a crack ship. That one actually like would hold some water, I think. You mentioned Cordy though, and I'm gonna go with a crack ship. I'm throwing out the ship that I was thinking of, and I'm gonna go with a crack ship. I would love to see Erdene and Cordy.
Oh, okay. Well, they're both very powerful. That would be interesting.
Crack ship. I take no responsibility.
I can see it though, you know?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It would be probably the most stylish ship.
Oh, seriously, especially after this episode, which I mean we're gonna get into, but Erdene, whoo,
yeah. I'm just gonna see myself to the door for that one. Just like I will leave the room for those panels, take a cold shower, and come right back.
Right. I was actually thinking, since I got like this Erdene wig, I was like, oh, should I try to dress up as Erdene? I'm like, I can't do that level of sexiness. So, and nor do I have any, I have a black suit that would not look like what she was wearing. So, and plus I'm not willing to show that much cleavage in public on YouTube. So
fair.
So I was like, I won't even try. I'll just be me. Okay, so to recap last episode, gosh, I don't even remember what happened last episode. We had a lot, but basically it ends off with them going into the club and a possibly dismembered foot at the entrance of the club, which was not a dismembered foot. So, and we start out, again, Poppy says, by the way, if anybody else wants to summarize, like, please feel free to do so. Holy fudge biscuits, which is, again, Poppy's adorable way of not cursing. And we see this amazing cave. It's blue. There's a lot of exclamation points, loud music. And then, you know, she's going in with her 𝗏𝗏𝗏. I'm guessing 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is like the roofers of like the space.
But yeah, just like the that you hear like before you hear the music, but you hear the bass coming through the floor.
So when I first read that, this shows you that I've been to a club literally all of maybe 3 times in my life. But I was thinking that her heels were like wobbling. I thought it was like whoop, as she was walking, and then I was like, wait, no, it's the music.
Oh.
Yeah.
Me too. I've never been to a club ever. I mentioned this a lot. I grew up very religious, and like going to a bar or a nightclub was like the worst thing you could ever do. So I've been to like
they are pretty overrated most of the time.
Yeah. Oh, and
there is a very loud sound you get acquainted with very quickly.
Yeah. So actually, as soon as they walk in and they hear this like the scene, I was like, oh my God, my ears were already killing me, and I was like, I want to get out. I want to get out. And I'm an extrovert, but like I was like, so much noise, so much music. They can't hear themselves talk. I was like, this does not look pleasant. But, and especially we know that like Tora is an introvert. Poppy was looking forward to this, but Tora is like, not. And they're walking in with her adorable high heels. Her high heels are so nice.
Oh, they're fabulous. Oh.
Yeah. I was very impressed. I was like, Poppy, you're dressed to impress.
Good job, girl. Good job.
Yep. And obviously Tora looking magnificent. Unspeakably magnificent. Just cannot be expressed in words. They really can't.
Someone mentioned it. It looked like a Michael Jackson like kind of outfit, and like that seemed like a weird comparison. But like I see the style. It's just that Tora pulls it off better.
Yep.
Yeah, there is that very, very, very distinctive look, especially with like the big panels on the leather jacket.
Yes, exactly. Like the Thriller red jacket, but in black. Like it was very
But
small.
in black.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually saw Elvis Presley.
Tora is not a person who would wear red without a very good reason.
Right,
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Elvis Presley when I first saw this jacket, and that might have been because I lived in Memphis for 5 years, so I may have been a little Elvis centric. So they're walking in there, and it's like, as we said, an introvert's worst nightmare. Giant, amazing cave. Like this place looks amazing. Huge ceilings, like blue ethereal lights, purple, and there's tons of people dancing. They're silhouetted, and which actually I have this awesome comment somebody said that like relates to that. And then you see this beautiful figure of an angel, right? And that's the fallen angel. Their wings are surrounding them. Looks like this magnificent ice sculpture. I'm assuming it's not ice sculpture, but it's gorgeous. Like the scenery here is unbelievable.
Absolutely.
I feel like I'm going to start this off with something that I can't actually back up because I can't point you to the panel or the episode because I'm just noticing it now. But I feel like that specific, like whatever template Lily pulled this particular angel from, I feel like I've seen it somewhere else in the comic so far. And it's also like the second really explicit, like has its whole panel dedicated to itself fallen angel imagery that we've seen even just in recent episodes, with the most recent one being the cherub statue that Vince pulls down and smashes, which had this very similar look.
And the other thing that me was, so angels seem to be like a big theme too, but like there's Quincy's angels. Like they literally like took this moniker. The last time that, the last episode, Poppy was fishing for information, was saying like, oh, you've been here before, like with Quincy? And he said, yeah, of course with Quincy. And that's making me think like, I don't like, this is a complete stretch, but like maybe this was like a hangout for them, a safe haven like club. Like obviously they go here a lot. People know Tora when he walks in. And I kind of like the idea of like Quincy's angels. Like this was like their kind of hangout spot. Like, because at first I was thinking like Charlie's angels, which was cute, but like maybe it was more of a moniker to kind of link back to like their little home base.
Interesting. I can't see Tora liking it as a safe spot for him, but I totally like what you said, because when he comes in, tons of people know him. But a lot of people were wondering if Quincy owns the nightclub and just didn't want to say it. And obviously like
not a stretch.
Yeah, and the hotel right outside being called a Princess Hotel, like hello.
That was pretty perfect.
I really love, this is a bit of a tangent, I love the way Lily doubled down on the blue and the purple color scheme, and also mad props to the background team on this one. But also, Lily posted, I think in Patreon, about how the next, like, we're in a new arc, like the romance between Poppy and Tora, like, is taking center stage right now. Like, that's clear in this episode. But I noticed right away, right as we got into that sort of first big wide pan out where you're really seeing what this club looks like, that it is like you could put this up next to Regina's Peak and they would just mirror one another to a T. The rich blues, the rich purples, that starscape, all the lights in this cave are making like a reflection of that starscape, like from the top of the mountain to literal underground, which like that sets up what I think is probably going to happen in the next episode, 2 episodes, 3 episodes of Tora and Poppy talking in this club. It's like it's a visual foreshadowing because of the scene that Lily set, a dozen episodes ago when we were all losing our minds over the top of that mountain. And there's also something really interesting about going from the top of the mountain and having, like Poppy's date to the same scene set in the bowels of the earth for Tora's date, and how the meaningful discussion that they had on the top of the mountain might be about to be mirrored here underground.
Okay, I love that more than words can say, because So in that, in fact, I'm zooming in a little bit here, but in that one panel that you're talking about, like that one scene, there's a scene where like Poppy was looking down at the city and Tora was looking up at the sky. And yeah, so and now they're going into the underground area. The color scheme's the same. Like he's looking out at the vast expanse and she's looking at the city, like the busy lights, the excitement, and he's looking into like the void and like solitude. And like that fits here. I really love that concept. I don't know if it was intentional or if it's just like, I don't know, universe speaking to you, but that was absolutely beautiful. I love that connection.
I'm sure we'll see more of it in the next, like, I would bet that they won't get out of this club for another, like, 2 episodes ish. Yes. Like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to how those echoes play out, because, you know, Lily's such an intentional artist that even if this wasn't her, like, forefront of her mind as she's writing and sketching, like, the number of hours she spent on these panels, like, decisions were made and thought through.
Right.
Absolutely.
I think also, and I know Lily has said this, that she writes intuitively, and I think for that many artists really, I think they intuitively and unconsciously have a sense of story or symbolism or irony, and sometimes it's not, like you said, it's not at the forefront of their mind, but it's there. It's like their life experience speaking through them, or it's like this inspiration, and it's there and they can't necessarily articulate it, but it comes through in their writing. And I can see that happening even when the person isn't conscious of it, because when you're writing, you have your whole life experience just coming through your fingers, and sometimes you don't, you know, you're not thinking of it consciously, but it is expressing itself, and other people can pick up on that. So
I absolutely love that.
There's a quotation somewhere, I cannot remember right now who said it, but it's a very well respected author of some modern classic who was also teaching writing, and some student came up to him and said, okay, I finished writing my story, now shall I put the symbols in? And he said, no. The symbols rise up out of your work on their own. You know, they come out of your subconscious. You finish writing, you look back, and all of a sudden you see them like strewn out behind you like these Hansel and Gretel breadcrumbs. And you know, Lily is such a fantastic, smart, and like you said, super intuitive writer. But there's so many of these things that I think just also bubble straight up out of her subconscious that we find and analyze depth.
Yeah. So somebody made this really, well, a lot of people obviously made great comments, but there was one really good, a couple of really good comments about the cave that I wanted to highlight. So Misty was saying how, well, we get to it a little further when you see all like the fish. So she was talking about how there is these bioluminescent animals that are creating light where there is no light. And that is obviously something she saw that as being Poppy, because Poppy is bringing the light to Tora, right? They're down in the cave. The cave is Tora's world. Like they're going down in there, and she, you know, there's the creatures creating light, just like Poppy creates light. And she was wondering, she was like, you know, is the angel a metaphor for Poppy because Poppy is his angel? But then she was like, no, Tora is the fallen angel is him, which is what I thought of last time, especially if we see Quincy's angels, right? Quincy saw his angels as like, you know, they're like people who no one likes and they think they're bad people, but he sees them as angels. So like fallen angel, the whole concept of someone who was once an angel who's fallen, you know, they're being forced into this lifestyle, etc. So she was even pointing out how like the way that the statue is placed, they're like lost and forgotten with their wings like closing them off to the world. It's really very poignant.
Really nice.
Yeah, where is this? Someone, okay, I think this was Lady Libris. Yes, I was right. So where she points out that she's viewing this, you guys know the allegory of Plato's cave?
Yes.
Don't think I do. Enlighten me. Yeah.
So Plato's, the allegory of Plato's cave, basically like Plato's main idea was like that there's this ideal form. Okay, this is getting a little too outside of this, but he basically sees that life is like people in life are like people who have been in a cave their whole entire life. She actually said that people who they haven't been born in the cave, but they've been there in childhood. They're trapped in this cave and they think that this is what life is. And whatever they see is actually just shadows on the wall of their cave. Like, let's say there's a fire and anything that they see coming from the outside is just a shadow, but they think that that's what reality is because that's all they've ever known. And really there's a whole life outside the cave and that's the reality. So this is like, you know, for Tora and his underworld, right? the life that they see, that's not, I mean, it is a life, it's a true life for them, it does exist, but the real life, like the richer life, the wonderful life with the sunshine and the trees and the birds and the freedom, that's outside the cave. So that's like 100% like the reality that they are seeing.
This is why I love this fandom. Like, we take this episode and then like apply thousands of years of philosophical
allegory of the cave.
Yeah, like we're talking about Plato now. Like this is what this fandom is, and this is why I love all of you.
Yeah. It's awesome, right? And Lady Libri, right? Like obviously a literary. That's definitely, the name is perfect. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and P and J and E, Pinkie. I don't know. I think she was talking about how Poppy is still very bright tones, and like even when she comes in, she's still very pink, and like she's still the light in his life. I think that's what I wrote.
She's also so pale. Like she just like shines in that like the dark, just like by natural.
Yeah.
What it is. Like she just pops in this underworld.
Right. I don't think anyone else is wearing that pink color or like that bright color.
No, everybody's in there in dark tones. There is a panel though. As we, we get sort of this first big pan out of the cave and the club itself, and we get a little bit of Poppy's internal dialogue. This is incredible. The music's so loud I can hardly hear myself think. People are coming up and talking to Tora. Of course, they're all warm but muted. And then we get this first picture here of her where those cool blue tones are like really encroaching on her for the first time. And when you point out that you're not sure if Tora or Poppy is the fallen angel, and I think it's interesting. I think we have one that is fallen and one that is falling. One is there, and then one is entering that world voluntarily. Especially because one of the most fascinating things about the way that Lily writes these characters is none of them are either or. We all love the fact that Tora is a big aggressive guy who's a teddy bear way down under 18,000 layers of like anger and trauma. And then we also notice that Poppy is incredibly bubbly and sweet and lovely and effervescent and floral on the top. And there's something steely and a little dark underneath there. She, when she wants to, can be very manipulative. She's extremely perceptive. She knows how people see her and how to use that to her advantage. Like, none of these characters are binary. And your point about fallen angel, I think can apply to both of them really well in this scenario. And I think that really beautiful moment of coloring right there, probably, it seems deliberate, there was so much time spent on rendering that one particular panel that I think it marks a subtle transition point for Poppy.
I love it.
I love it.
So right.
You're right. There's a lot of detail in that one specific image. Like it was obviously like so much time was spent on this one.
Yeah. There are the story panels and then there are the art panels.
Yes. And she's grasping onto Tora in that panel too, I think. Like you actually see like he was holding her and dragging her like behind him. She's actually holding onto his arm in that one. Like I don't know. Like I don't know if it's that she was originally, when I was just reading it surface level, I was thinking that she was overwhelmed. But
probably.
Like yeah, but I just, and it's shiny, like her hand is shining. I don't know why, but I liked that little detail that it's like glittering, like it draws your eye to her hand grasping onto his jacket.
Yeah, and you just have these bands of like blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, like cold, warm, cold, warm, cold, warm, all over her body in that one shot, which probably took 3 times as long as the other panels in this to render.
Interesting. I wonder if like, I'm probably reading too much into this, but like the blue warm is like hot and cold, he loves me not. I'm gonna kiss him, he's not into me. I love him, he's not my, he would never be into me, like that. We
love dichotomies in literature. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and one thing, even like when we were saying she's gripping his hand, so yeah, I did see it like, yeah, she's overwhelmed, but also that she's like relying on him for support, and like she knows that he's more familiar with this world, and I thought it was sweet that she felt she could be secure with him, like as her guide.
So speaking of which, I'm gonna look this up now. But when they were, so now that Leslie's got me primed for Regina's peak, they had that conversation where Poppy was saying she wished she was more like Tora because he seemed, and I don't remember what she was saying to him, but she was like saying how like he was like, it was easy to talk to him, or that he was easy. I have to look it up. But now I'm trying to see each other through their eyes, because like we obviously are like omniscient, we're seeing all the information, but I keep trying to put myself between it, like into their own shoes, because they don't have all the information. And so keep talking. I need to find this one conversation, because
all right,
it's slowly clicking in my brain.
So I wanted to say something that I loved about that Patty said about this whole, going into the cave thing. So, we know that it's the symbolic of poverty. Patty, I know Patty would love to be in the world, but Poppy descending into his world. But she was saying how, like, when he walks in, right, it's dark and it's overwhelming with tons of music, and there's it's a very physical place, a lot of bodies dancing. It's very sexual. It's a lot about like lust and pleasure. And when Tora walks through the crowd, everyone's looking at him, and gosh, I might be mixing it up with other thing, right? Where this is a world of like people who are always physically focused on him as a physical human being, and they're all, all the women there are like staring at him, and he's like an object, he's a piece of meat to them. So, you can see why he would be frustrated and sick of that, and he gravitates towards Poppy, who doesn't see him as this physical piece of meat. She sees past that. Oh, I thought that was cool.
I love that. Well, Patty,
that makes sense. An interesting one thing, I hadn't really spent a whole lot of time taking in this panel the first couple of times I read through it. As you point that out, a lot of people coming up and like, wanting to hang on to Tora. It's interesting that we see all of these indications of a lot of people liking Tora. Like Tora is a kind of a scary dude. He's like 6 foot whatever and made of muscle, and we know about his resting bitch face. But anytime he walks into these social settings, we have a lot of people who express some sort of prior friendly relationship with him. Like there's at least some indication that he can hold a room in a super social setting. But nowhere have we actually seen him engaging in that kind of behavior. Nowhere have we seen him sort of, like knowing, actively engaging in small talk. He's usually just really grumpy and trying to get everybody off his back. So I wonder if in the next arc or two, like forgetting the next couple of episodes, but like in the next arc or two of this story, if we will see enough of Tora's backstory to understand maybe when and where and how that switch occurred. I hadn't thought of it until now, frankly, but
now that you're mentioning that, it's making me think that so Tora seems like the kind of person that draws people to him based on his actions. So like even his close friends like 𝗪𝗓 and Quincy, he doesn't text them back. He doesn't verbally say anything to them. He's never active in their chat. He's not loquacious. He doesn't speak. He doesn't share.
Right. He just sends captionless photos once every 6 weeks.
Yeah. But everyone seems to have some kind of connection to him. 𝗪𝗓 is thanking him for all that he's done. Like obviously Quincy relies on Tora a lot. So I get the impression that Tora is a like an active service love kind of person, where like he's never going to tell you his feelings, but he's going to do things that he cares just based on his actions. So like I'm sure that if any one of these guys, like even if he pretends or doesn't actually know their names, if one of them was in a pickle, he'd be there. Goliath, who like he has an awful relationship with now, who turned him into the police. Like he asked for help and Tora says fuck you, but then can I say that? I'm sorry. but then he shows up.
It's okay.
Yeah, but then he goes. So it's not a verbal thing for him. It's completely like animalistic and physical. Like he's an instinctive person. He just does.
That's a really good point.
Sorry?
Really good point.
No, yeah. So it's, I don't know. Well, I want to see more of the backgrounds, like you said. I don't know if it'll be a story or just like a specific thing that he did for them, but I want it.
Yeah.
I love that. And I was like, I was both surprised and not surprised, because I was surprised because I was like, oh wait, I thought Tora is standoffish and doesn't have friends. But on the other hand, I know that he's a person who commands respect. And I totally presumed, like you guys said, I think there is an element like where everybody knows that I don't know if, like, they probably don't see him the way we do. Like, we see him a little bit of like a pity object because we understand his background and he's forced into it. But I think they do understand that there's like some kind of dignity and nobility to him. And they understand that he's like a moral person. At least that, maybe if they can't articulate it either, but I do think that maybe that's the reason they give him respect, and that without even understanding why. But I want to also go off what you said, Emily. It's really interesting. So I don't know if you've done this, but I have sat there and analyzed whether Tora and I would be compatible romantic partners. Okay. I'll just fess up for the whole fandom. So, and I'm very into, like, since I was younger, I was very into compatibility and personality compatibility and what makes people compatible. And I had like a whole list before I met my husband of like what I need in a husband. And he met like 9 out of 10. And, you know, like 10 years later, and, you know, sure, we like had our share of fights, but like we're still very, very, very compatible. And I always think, like, you know, would I be compatible with Tora? And my initial thought was no, because my husband's very, very, very intellectual, absent-minded professor all the way, like 1,000 books in the house, reads all day, knows everything about European history from like 1,000 years ago. And he's a philosopher. So, and that's something that I really value. And I was like, I would never be able to communicate with a guy like Tora because, like what you said, Emily, he's very intuitive. And I was like, I was trying to think, I was like, Tora, I was like, it's not that he's not smart. I was like, he's definitely smart, but what is it? It's like, and then I realized, like, my husband's like good with words, abstract concepts, but Tora is like, he has this like intuition wisdom. It's like this, you said like animal instinct. There's something about that. Like, and I don't know, I think about it as much. So I don't know if I know how the words to articulate it, but he has this immense, yes, this wisdom and this like nobility and this character where, you know, I feel like sometimes I myself personally have to work on appreciating that in people, because I tend to look at people for their smarts first. And this cartoon has honestly taught me a lot to like understand and appreciate people who are not like me, and just to value them, even though they don't have like the academic stuff, which is like, unfortunately, this like the number one thing. And I really have to like work on myself, like, okay, people have more traits than just that. And they can be incredibly like wonderful and powerful and wise and generous and noble without being academically book smart. So my little soliloquy here.
No, it's good. I'm thinking that it comes from a place of confidence, because we talk about a lot of Tora's negative self traits. He's a little bit self-loathing. You know, does not obviously have a high opinion of himself, as we've seen from conversations with him and Q. The way people in the clan have treated him, the higher ups have treated him, like, there's no wonder. But I think he at least knows he's good at what he does. And a lot of the times having that confidence in his ability gives him just the ability to just kind of do what needs to get done. So if a friend is in trouble and they don't know what to do, he's going to do it for you. You know, if someone needs help with anything, like, it's not, he doesn't waste time. Like, Quincy screaming for help when Benjamin's falling over, like, he just comes over, picks Benjamin up, and does what needs to get done. Like, he just does whatever will help someone instinctively. He just knows how to do it. So I think I had like a friend in college that like everyone was just gravitated towards her, and she was just very good at everything. She was intelligent, she was artistic, and she would just do it. If you needed something, she was there, she would do it. She didn't ask questions. She wasn't very like outspoken. It was just, I'm here for you. What do you need? Let's get it done. And like a lot of the times someone would come up to her and would be talking to her and smiling and walk away, and she's like, I don't know who the heck that guy is. I'm like, well, you helped him out in class at one time. She's like, oh, okay. But like, so it's kind of, I see that in Tora, where it's like, he might not necessarily remember you, but like, if he saw you and you needed help, he would have done it. He would have been there. So I think a lot of people, he's probably that person that has a lot of people that love him, and he's just like, why are these people following me? And he doesn't get that it's just because he's reliable. He's a good person, and people see that in him.
I wish Tora could hear us talking so he could build up his self-esteem.
Amen.
Well, he's probably also suspicious because equally as many people want to use him for his power. That would be a very difficult position to be in, to have all of those people, like Emily is saying, you know, trust you and like fundamentally believe you're a good person, and then all of these people just want to use you as a rung on the ladder.
Mm-hmm. And so, contrast to what I just said, he also doesn't have a lot of confidence in himself. So that's where we see this panel where Poppy's going to meet her friends, and he's just back. He's kind of like hanging back, and then he just walks away. And I think a lot of people commented about this, but I saw that as like he was uncomfortable in that situation and just kind of left and did his, he was like, I don't know what to do here. Poppy's with her friends. I'm a little bit awkward. I'm gonna go off and do my own thing and get shit done. He takes care of it. Well, you know, take care of the perimeter. Like he goes into like what needs to get done mode because he doesn't know how to socialize, which he was doing great with Jacob in the office. But like this seems like I'm out of my element. Let's go back. Let's fall back to what I'm comfortable with. So
I barely even noticed it, but yeah, I think I was like subconsciously noticing, but I didn't think about it. Yeah, wow, that's profound. So
yeah, I'm looking at this panel. He's just standing back there like this.
So little
Awkward bump on a log. 6'3" awkward bump on a log.
Hand in the pocket.
Like, well,
I'm so curious, by the way, what do you think was going through his head when he presumably, some people, it may still have been _Quincey, when he presumably chose his outfit? Because was he aware of how like stunning he would look in that outfit? Like, what do you think made
I think
him
he knows he looks
that?
good.
He's feeling himself here.
He's smart enough and self-aware enough to like both know what he does, you know, in the like realms of things that contribute to self-loathing, and also to know the effect he has on people. Like
Women's
he knows he looks fine.
Yeah.
You know, he knows he looks great. He knows how to maximize it. I think he knows he looks fly, and you know, he knows how to underscore it. So he probably feels great. He would not roll up to Poppy's birthday party without like 6 different outfit decks. He cares about Poppy enough to like have a whole little like highly contained nervous breakdown in front of Quincey, quadruple checking his outfits to make sure that he looked.
We saw what happened at Alice's restaurant. I think of that as a song called
See?
Alice's Restaurant.
See?
But yeah, it was freaking me out about the hair. He's screaming for Quincey's hair product. Like, I think I can definitely picture how much worse it must have been in this scenario.
Right. Like, there's a reason that Quincey is not even in this episode. It's because he's
Okay,
45
ready?
minutes late pre-gaming just to recover from having to handle Tora's breakdown over his outfit.
Tora probably used all of his hair gel, and now what is he going to do his
He had
homework?
to go buy more.
Yeah.
But because Quincey is Quincey, his hair gel is, you know, like made of the tears of unicorns and is from the opposite side of the country. And they have to helicopter there and back, and that's why Quincey's late to the birthday party. Headcanon, you can't change my mind.
No, agreed. I'm on board.
Okay. Yeah, I was a bit surprised because I thought like maybe he wouldn't want to draw so much attention to himself because I just realized I have to plug in my battery. Hold on. But give me a second, guys. You can keep talking.
It's okay. I also just got like the troubles of curly hair. I have a hair that's poking me in the eye, but I can't find it.
I understand that. Okay, well, so I need to entertain you guys.
Okay, we're good.
Good, because I can't travel.
So anywho, so in that scene where he's drawing back, Poppy is, you know, seeing Erdene and Jacob, and I was so curious to see what they were wearing as well. Erdene is wearing this basically blazer and mini skirt or pants, I think, I don't know what it is. It's white. It's just a blazer. There's cleavage showing. It's her tattoo, you know, displaying itself. It's awesome. And Jacob is wearing a shirt as usual. It's pink, and he was wearing green pants, but he looks cute.
He does, and his hair is all done. The gel, like
Yeah.
he made an effort.
He made an effort.
Yeah.
He's just completely eclipsed by the work of art that is sitting next to him.
Absolutely. Like,
But that's his role, you know. He's the sidekick. He's the
He
cute
is.
guy.
Yeah, he's a great sidekick.
Yes.
He's a multi-layered, nuanced sidekick, and I can't wait to see a little bit more of him. But also,
Yeah,
there's a hierarchy of outfits.
So I had a question for this part because I think everyone read it a little bit differently, and I'm curious what everyone's take on it was. When Jacob mentions, "I'm surprised you're actually enjoying yourself, Pop," she says, "Because, but of course, I'm a party animal," and the way I read that was like kind of serious, not like I read it as like cutesy, like, yeah, like I like parties, like why does no one, like, of course I like party, like I don't think she's an extroverted like rager, but like I think like she's just quietly acknowledging that like, yeah, I can have fun here too. But some people read that as like deadpan's like snark, which is definitely up her alley of like, I'm a party animal, of course, like like deadpan, like as if like she's not, this isn't her type of thing. So I was curious what your take was.
I think I read it as Poppy's sort of trademark self-awareness of the way she looks. Like I'm the sweet innocent girl next door. Like, of course, you know, she like plays that duality really well. Of like, of course I'm a party animal.
It fits with the face.
Right. Yeah.
Little like, it does look a little cutesy.
Of course, I'm a party animal. Duh. Knowing that she's not, but also, you know, she's like on one level, she's, you know, playing to Jacob, being like, you know, I'm a sweet little introvert, you know, like playing up that joke. Well, of course I'm a party animal, but I think, you know, we also have seen enough of her like getting blackout drunk on an entire bottle of Campari. Oh my God. My liver hurt just looking at that with her friends, you know. So I think it's like there are 3 or 4 levels of nuance to that kind of self-awareness deadpan joke. I think it is absolutely a joke, but one that has so many levels of nuance to it.
I relate to that blackout scene because I'm very similar. I'm really not a heavy drinker. I don't drink, like if I have a drink a month, like that's weird for me. Even in college, like I would bring a bottle of wine with me to like ragers, and I would just like drink the wine from the bottle. But like when I do drink, I drink like I will not have anything for months, and then I'll have like 2 or 3 glasses of whiskey in a night, and then like, and then people will be like, what is happening to Emily? Yeah. So I relate to that because like, I'm not a party animal at all, but like if the need arises and it could be fun to let loose and like, awesome. And like, I'm not going to do it halfway.
Yeah.
So I thought that was, I could definitely see that as like a joke, but also not a joke.
Yeah, I think that's why I got it right away too, because I have made some variation of that joke to people within my circle many, many times, because I am as introverted as they come. All of my friends know that I put on the super extroverted face when I'm with colleagues, when I'm at rehearsals, when I'm doing the whole backstage performing thing, and then I need to be on myself for 6 weeks. I'm the kind of person like I will buy a bottle of wine and it will turn to vinegar in the fridge because I forgot I bought it and opened it. But then when I go party with my people, the art people, like there is a level of keeping up that you have to do with these kind of people. And I can keep up in these super specific instances and I have a great time. And then I have to go be a hermit for another 6 weeks. There's a level of, well, duh, of course, I'm a party animal. The person you haven't heard from for 6 weeks because they've been like,
turtling
and walking in the forest.
You're very dramatic, Leslie. I feel like you should do drama, but you already do. So
I do gender bendy drama too. Yeah. The number of times I've played a woman I can count on one hand. The number of times I've played a man is just like.
Well, opera, it tends to. Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I get to kiss a lot of girls. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think Poppy is self-aware enough to like make fun of herself, like making fun of herself, and it goes back and forth like 6 different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and Jacob, of course, misses most of it.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah.
I read it that like she was probably referenced that in her head she was thinking of herself as like a party animal because she had been that, but like Erdene and Jacob don't know that about her, because I can definitely see
I like that one too.
Yeah, that there's elements of like yourself that when you, especially because they don't know her for that long, that people just don't know about you. So I think that, you know, she might identify as a party animal, but they just don't think of her that way.
She's joking to herself almost as much as she is to Jacob.
Yeah.
She's having a little tiny joke at all their expense.
And I was like so happy, by the way, when Erdene mentioned, she's like, look, Quincy reserved this lounge area for us. It's so much quieter here. Thank God my ears are bleeding. I was like, thankfully, because I remember back to like having grown up very religious, I didn't go to any, I went to Jewish concerts, but the first time I went to a concert that wasn't Jewish, I was like, I'm never going again, because I was sure that I lost half my hearing in that concert. And I felt such relief when Erdene said that. I was like, thank God, they're not going to lose the hearing. And I actually did lose my hearing. I'm deaf on the left ear, but not because of the concerts. That's just because of like a random infection. But
As we all
so anyway,
pick up.
so I don't want them to lose their hearing.
That seemed like at least one kindness from Quincy, since he at least gave her one safe haven because he made her wear 6-inch heels for the rest of the night.
Yeah. You know, Tora just like absolutely lost it at the sight of what those heels did to her calves.
Oh, you're absolutely, you were all talking about Quincy and Tora's calves. Poppy's calves were, she was
Poppy's calves in those heels, especially because Poppy's not stick thin. Like, there are some curves like leading straight up into that jacket, and Tora's brain is not working correctly right now.
Thank you, Quincy. We love you.
Yeah.
We love Pinkie.
Wingman to all.
Yeah, and it's I'm wondering why he told her to wear sneakers, just like as a to Erdene, just like as a look out for her health.
He gives a crap about the comfort of other people, but there is a mission that supersedes Poppy's like blisters.
And
Yeah,
for this
safety.
part.
It was
Also,
Jacob.
he knows that Poppy is not going to trip and fall, because what does Poppy have? Poppy has a 6'3" like security mattress who will literally pick her up off the ground rather than see her roll an ankle.
Also,
And we want to do like an over-under on whether or not this happens within the next 2 episodes. Anything else?
but also it's Jacob that's wearing sneakers, not Erdene. Jacob was gonna go walk around and take pictures for his girlfriend, and he was saying that Quincy told him to wear sneakers. Erdene's wearing boots, I think.
And Erdene's tall enough; she doesn't even need heels.
Yeah, no, she's got that already.
I assumed it was Erdene because it's on the right side and Erdene was talking from the right side, but I don't know. Let's see.
I think it also flips because we're seeing Poppy in profile as opposed to from the back. So
I see.
both Jacob and Erdene are on the right of that panel.
I like
Yeah.
like because they'd gone shopping together, so I liked the idea of Quincy and Tora and Jacob like discussing their outfits for the night. they were going shopping and what he should be wearing, which is
I
cute.
want to see a flashback of that shopping so bad.
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, it's cute. But we know his girlfriend's name is Megs, by the way. So she seems more real. Some people were speculating on whether she was real or not because they're like, oh yeah, Jacob, your girlfriend likes Quincy's novels. But she has a name, so more likely she's real.
Yes.
I bet she's just like a super sweet, lovely girl.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or she's like a biker chick.
Oh,
That would be amazing.
that would be a sharp contrast. Rebecca liked about Erdene that what Erdene was wearing is obviously super sexy and awesome, but it's also understated enough that it doesn't take Poppy's limelight. And like she liked that because like as a supportive friend there for her like friend's birthday, you know, she doesn't want to overshadow her. I thought that was nice.
Yeah, agreed. Very cute.
Okay, so Tora has moved to the bar and he has his acolytes following him, or as I think it was Christina Egan who coined the term, the Thuglets.
Very
I
cute.
love it.
Yeah, it's the only acceptable term henceforth.
Yes.
And there's some amazing, beyond amazing memes to accompany it in the Facebook groups.
Mhm.
And we're gonna talk about one of them lately with this very particular young man. So yeah, so the two guys that are with Tora are like, okay, I'll have this, I'll have that. And which is really cute. You see how much they turn to him because one guy, the guy with pink hair, who we'll find out his name in a second, he says, I don't know, maybe I'll have a, and then the other guy is like, let me see what you having, bro. Which I think he's talking about Tora. Is he talking about like Tora, like, which to me would underscore the extent of how much they admire Tora. They're like, I don't know, I'll have whatever Tora's having. But
Yeah. Meanwhile, Tora's not even paying attention. He's just like, yo, Pinkie.
Yeah. And so, right, Tora's like, secure the rest of the area in here. And he's like, got it, bro, big bro, just me. And he doesn't look at him. And he has this like, you know, like we say Tora has resting bitch face. So he has resting furrowed eyebrows or like, I can't do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's always like, I am serious.
Yes.
I am sunk.
Yes. And now he says the line that makes us all laugh our heads off. He's like, all of you. He's like, got it. And name's Demian. I've been following you since 8th grade. I'm a Sagittarius. Oh, God.
Oh, your game is weak.
So much snark, and I love it.
Snark. I viewed it as like, so Christina, Laura, I can't remember. Sorry, I should remember if it's flying my name out. Made this meme where it's like he's like, just please notice me, senpai, notice me. He's in a hamster suit. And we have a lot of debate about this. So, right, he's like, he wants to get Tora's attention. He's like, and my favorite, like what my favorite color is pink. And Tora cuts him off and he's like, I hurt your feelings. He sweats. He's like, no, sir. Good, then get to work. Got it. So we have a lot to discuss here. And I'll let you guys go first about what you think about what does Damien feel towards Tora? Is it romantic? Is it like you're admiring? And then about Tora's reaction to him. So go ahead.
I mean, I basically have two ideas that I don't have a particular opinion because I don't know that I don't have a particular opinion between the two because I just don't have enough information yet.
Data.
Either Damien's gay and is crushing on Tora like a reasonable man would when confronted with Tora. And he is sort of like, I'm too cool to care. I'm throwing this out like a joke, but actually like, notice me senpai, trying to flirt with Tora and getting shut down. I think a 𝗃𝗶𝗱𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁 might have been star sign because I don't know that I've actually met a straight man who is into astrology, but all of my male and non-binary friends who are not straight are very into astrology. So I don't know, maybe a giveaway, maybe not, maybe I'm being reductive. Or he's a straight dude who is annoyed with Tora for like still not learning his name since the 8th grade, who is playing it up to Tora. Like, yeah, I followed you since the 8th grade and I'm a Sagittarius. My favorite color is pink, You still can't remember.
That's
this
how I
is to your crew like 8 years ago and you still don't know and I'm just gonna rub your nose in it. Either one, I don't know. I don't have a particular opinion between the two. Either one would be hilarious. And then Tora just puts it because he's done.
We need more data to know, but I took when I read it in my mind, I read it as the snarky like dude, I've been here, like I've literally been in your crew for how long now and you still don't know my name, like that's kind of what I took it, but like not in like an angry, but like kind of in like a slightly hurt and is like covering it up in like his like little like joking way to try and make it less hurtful for himself because really he just like wants Tora to notice him. Like so I definitely read it the notice me senpai kind of way because he's like when he looks away like the no sir, like it's not like it was just I don't know, he seemed so sad and pitiful that like Tora just wanted him to do his job and like didn't want to hang out with him and notice him. So that's how I read it. I mean, I'm game for anything, but right now that's what's happening in my mind.
Yeah. So I didn't see it as gay or as snarky. I saw it as like he just admires him and like he idolizes him because we know that a lot of the younger guys do idolize Tora. So I viewed it as that. Poor guy. And now Tora's response, I was like, I think I said it out loud. I was like, Tora, I was like, if they like you, they'll work harder for you and they'll protect you. And I was like, Tora, why you gotta be so mean? Like you understand what it's like when people are mean to you and treat you like dirt. Like, don't you want to treat people better than that? But we had a lot of people commenting on this. And let me say this. Basically, gosh. Lindsay 𝗙𝗪𝗱 said, I don't know how to pronounce it, but she was basically saying that when he's, for someone in Tora's position, a lot of his acolytes or like his underlings might be getting killed, like in the military. So he might not want to develop a relationship with them because he's gonna like have his heart wrenched every time they die. So he just keeps it short and curt. And then, other people were saying, and like where, he might not want to, I think it was Julia, he might not want to show weakness in front of the clan and, he has to build up an image. So like he has to appear to be gruff and uncaring. So I think that's another very plausible reason he could be saying this.
I think he's like, so the only, like my devil's advocate part of that is it just that like he's like that with everybody, like he's like that with Quincy and 𝗃𝗄. So like even the people he's close with, he's gruff with. And I think that's still along the same lines. Like it's just a product of the atmosphere he's grown up in. Like maybe it's not necessarily like specific, this person might die or such, but it's definitely just the atmosphere they're in is they don't make close connections for whatever reason. It could be a whole bunch, but it's a hostile world that they live in. So I think,
especially as like Vince's, like specifically Vince's underling, like imagine how many times Tora throughout his entire childhood, young adulthood training had close personal relationships used as bait for punishment. Like people he cared about, like getting beat up because, you know, just like getting the beach trip taken away, you know, how many times has somebody that Tora's cared about or something that Tora's cared about, like been used as a bargaining chip, as punishment for Tora, as the whipping boy. So I think that there's a lot of layers to that, you know, the same things that you're mentioning, that they might even just been used as punishment. You know, maybe Tora doesn't necessarily see them lost to clan violence with other clans. Maybe he's seen them lost to intra-clan violence. Because, you know, he's really close to the top dog. I don't think Vince would let anybody get close to Tora without serious repercussions.
And then just in general, so again, now that you mentioned Regina's Peak, this just keeps popping up in my brain. But Poppy mentions, no, I love it. It's great. So Tora mentions to Poppy, like how do you just say your feelings like that? Like how can you just like come out and like just be open? And right here, when Damien's all like butthurt and like, you know, upset as they're walking away, Tora says to himself, bunch of pussies. And like there's that toxic masculinity like trigger of just like, why is this guy trying to get to know me? Like, why is this guy like, you know, like upset that I didn't coddle him and give him a pat on the head and say, good job, buddy. Like, he's just like, it's like an automatic response of just like, what do these guys want from me? Like, why are they trying to, like, why are they trying to connect with me? Just do your job. That's what you're here for. And I think that's just like, it's just the way that they're living in. It's the gut reaction of that. Like, don't show your emotions, just get shit done. So, and I think that's the outward image he puts, but then getting back to the earlier discussion, he still like shows he still has emotions and feelings, he just does it in actions, and he doesn't get when people are trying to connect verbally. He's just like, just do it. Like, if you do things for me, like if you just do what you're supposed to be doing, like we're fine. Like, why are you trying to connect on a deeper level? Just be there for me. So that's kind of how I took it.
You know, there's another level of this that I just thought of, and I don't know why I'm just remembering it now, but can we remember that there's evidence that Tora is actively trying to sabotage the clan? And it's so much easier to emotionally, why didn't I think of this until now? Oh my God, I'm dumb sometimes. It's so much easier to distance yourself from the impact your actions have on other people when you insult them, when you don't get close to them, when you keep pushing them away, when you call them a bunch of pussies to yourself. Because I feel like Tora doesn't internalize toxic masculinity that much. He's vulnerable enough to ask Poppy, hey, how are you just so like comfortable talking about your feelings? He's not like, talking about feelings is dumb, you know. He's saying this to himself after somebody from the clan tries to get close to him. He, notably, while we see him in the series, never interacts closely or in a friendly relation to anybody else in the clan. We also know that he's been sabotaging the clan and the clan activities and clan members, and that this is different since some specific turning point that happened before the inception of the story. Goodbye, pencil.
That's how I'm saying.
Right? So you have to wonder how much of this is Tora's personal narrative distancing himself from clan members who will feel real impacts of the subterfuge that Tora is engaging in, that Lily has buried under about 12 episodes. So that might be way too in the weeds for this episode, but it might be worth thinking about in terms of the broader arc, the high level view.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's in the weeds. And like the thing for me is like, yeah, Tora, right, I don't think that he thinks feelings are dumb. I think that he shuts it off when it comes to the clan, because it's not safe for him to have feelings with the clan. And Poppy is the first or one of the first places where it's safe for him. So he's totally different with Poppy. Like he's so emotionally sensitive to Poppy and attentive to her needs. And like the way he was in his apartment, I mean, he was like amazing. And like he was there for her and he was so sensitive, and like he treats these people totally differently. So I guess it's like a combination of what we were talking about. Well, also like he just can't do that in this environment.
Not at all.
And then, so counterpoint to all that, while Tora is shutting everybody out, literally the next scene is Erdene and Poppy on the couch together, like girl talking, like
strong female friendships.
Yeah. So literally I sit the same way Poppy does. Like I got my legs up. Like I love being in like a little ball when I'm sitting. And like, so she's just going,
meanwhile, I spent half the episode doing this.
Yeah, you were Erdene. There we go. We've got Tora, Poppy, and Erdene right here.
Amazing.
But yeah, it's so cute because now we have like, and so we have like a little heart to heart going on here, but at the same time we also don't have a heart to heart. Like Poppy's also kind of being a little bit coy too, which is interesting. I don't know if Tora's rubbing off on her, but like she's a little bit like, we'll talk when I'm ready to talk, and she's, you know, she'll get around to it, but now it's not the time, which I thought was an interesting development.
Well, yeah, she's had like 2 makeout sessions with the guy, and she just learned that no, he's actually in the mafia. That wasn't a joke.
Oh, that's not that much information. Why shouldn't she be able to tell Erdene that?
You know?
Yeah.
So if I were having that conversation with my friend, I would be in the same position. Like, yeah, you know, there's a lot of potential, but it's really new. So I just don't have that much information to give you because I don't even quite know where my head is on this.
Yeah, she needs to run some tests, some manalizations, and then she'll get back to Erdene.
I need to sleep on this for a little bit, go on some long walks, run it over in my brain more than I have, and then I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Erdene's reaction it's really wonderful because you know, and she's very she's very self-aware. Like she says this a little bit later, but basically she's really giving Poppy space to express herself, and she isn't like steamrolling her. And you know, she says it explicitly. She's like, you know, I know it can be pushy, but I'll back off as soon as you say the word. And that's very, first of all, self-aware of her, that she recognizes that she's pushy. And I'm a lot like Erdene, and I like totally recognize that. So I really respect Erdene for taking a step back and letting Poppy be herself, and like just giving her space and validating her, you know, saying, you know, after jewelry, the way he treated you, I would want space too. So she's like being so supportive and just so wonderful and understanding and respectful. So it's great job, Erdene.
See, and I find that Lily has this amazing ability to always distract me with thirst when she's giving us vital information. It's like while they're having this very deep conversation, the whole time I'm just staring at Erdene's chest and her blazer and that just little hint, and I'm just like, they're talking about something very serious, but their words? Is there writing on this page? I'm not sure what's going on, because look at her legs. They just keep going. So I feel like this is a constant thing where like, that she keeps like trying to, it's like a test, like how much do you want to know the story, because like here's a really attractive character, can you pay attention now?
So I think it was Tina Oliveira, she's actually said that she wasn't even reading it like the first time around. She was literally just scrolling for the dress reveal.
Yeah. Understandable. I can't.
And we all just like take a sharp right turn into Erdene's outfit. You know, like that meme of the car just going.
Mm-hmm.
That is me at that blazer at Erdene's chest tattoo. I'm just like, there's a plot, right? There's a plot, distract.
So speaking of details on the page, some people were asking whether the number 26 and 47, like her self-esteem numbers, if it means anything. So Lily was like, no, but she did point out that there is numerology. I don't want to say too much because it is Patreon, but like, so like if you're on Patreon, go find that comment. There's numerology about the phone numbers, their phone numbers, and the timestamp of their original text messages to each other. And I was like, whoa.
Another good reason to join Lily Dust's Patreon page is because you get little tidbits that are amazing.
And she tells you what it is.
I missed that. Somebody like screenshot that and send it to me. Oh my goodness.
I already have it. I will send it to you because I figured most of it out. There were a few things that a few little details that I had missed.
Also, I know nothing about numerology. I'm just proud that I can remember I'm a Capricorn. I don't know what that means, but I am a Capricorn.
I'm constantly looking. way too many. I'm one of those people too, that I saw 26 and 47 and I thought, okay, first I looked into numerology and I was like, okay, no, it's not this one. And then I went into Secret Gardens and I was like, okay, which numbers were Lily Beth's Secret Gardens? And I'm like, no, this is absolutely crazy. Like that wouldn't make sense. Like, cause most of them were alternate universe. And I'm like, okay, I need to talk myself off this horse because it's just a funny line. And like, I need to stop overanalyzing.
And then you can look at the episodes 26 and 47.
Oh, I didn't do that. That was probably the obvious one. Over my head.
Oh, we're hilarious.
Love that y'all have this level of detail, and I really look forward to your thoughts.
It's very exciting. But yeah, so okay, so this is like a much debated topic, and like I'm going to preface this by saying like it is very important that when you get out of a bad relationship, or just in general if you're feeling lost, like take time and just like take time off social media and just be like, who is Emily? Because like I'm taking on all these other personalities and like I'm kind of losing myself, and you just need to kind of get back into you. So I'm going to preface this with like, obviously it's a good thing that when you're in between relationships to just like focus on you for a little bit. But when Poppy was saying that she's finding herself again after years of feeling trapped and suffocated and lost, this sense of emotional freedom is so liberating. And that's amazing. And we started seeing some of that, where I have to find the quote. We started seeing some of that outside of Tora's apartment. Like when she left, she was like, she got emotional validation for the first time. Now I'm going to counter my own personal opinion, is that finding yourself and focusing on yourself and having time by yourself is wonderful, but that doesn't mean you can't have other people in your life. Maybe that doesn't mean jump right back into a relationship, but I don't think that means you can't have any kind of romantic interest or, you know, be with your friends or do anything, you know, that's not just focusing on yourself. But there's this one quote that Lola pointed out to me. I've like quoted it a million times. I don't know if I've done it here. That's a little bit, it's kind of contradictory to this, but it's by John Joseph Powell. And it is an absolute human certainty that no one can know his own beauty or perceive a sense of their own worth until it has been reflected back to him in the mirror of another loving, caring human being. And I love the idea that like whoever, it doesn't have to be romantic, whether that's Tora seeing himself through Quincy, through you, through Poppy, if it's Poppy seeing herself through Tora, validating her and saying like, yeah, like hit me, like what did I do to upset you? Tell me and I'm sorry and I will listen and I'm here for you. That like sometimes you need another person to pull yourself out of a funk. And that doesn't mean jumping into a relationship, but it means like I think a lot of times when I'm feeling down on myself, I'll go to my friends and they'll be like, whoa, like, why do you think this? And hear all the things I love about you. And I'll be like, okay, well, I'm not thinking of myself in that way right now. So seeing other person's love for you reflected in their eyes is extremely affirming. And Poppy seems to have surrounded herself with amazing people. Like she seems to have, jewelry aside, seems to have amazing senses. She's got like she found work friends that are amazing. Like sure, Jacob is a dickhead, but like at the end of the day, I'm gonna bet he's
not a dickhead. He's not.
Like I think
comment. That was it.
Yeah, I think he would be there for her if she needed him. Like I definitely
he was there.
It's just that like he's the immature 5th grader version of being there for you, and like if it was serious he would be there. Like she was the person she called when Tora was coming over. Like obviously they have a good connection. Erdene, she's got 𝗪𝗏 and Danny and her grandmother, and now she found Tora and she sees good in him, so she's got good instincts. So I think, sorry, this is a very long tangent, I apologize, but like I think that that a lot of people will see that and be like, yeah, like no relationships, no anything. And like, I don't see that. I just see that as make sure
you don't figure who you are. You don't figure out who you are by putting yourself in a box.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you figure out who you are by seeing how you respond to experiences.
Mm-hmm. And she's getting a lot of experience right now. Like she's getting a whole new world, like probably 5 different worlds thrown at her right now. She's in a new job, in a new city, now in the underworld. Well, yeah, she's got it all. She's got her bases covered of new experiences. I think she's finding herself.
She's thriving.
Yeah, she's thriving. She's no longer stuck in a suffocating relationship with someone who tells her that she shouldn't be feeling the way she's feeling. She's surrounded herself with a million new experiences that she can decide for herself if she likes or not.
Something that was so awesome about Poppy, like when she says after years of feeling trapped and suffocated and lost. So I have a friend who was married to a guy who, again, I wasn't there in the relationships. I don't know everything, but from what I understand, he was pretty emotionally abusive and put her down a lot. And she's beyond successful. I mean, like incredibly academically, you know, talented and gifted, and like wins all these awards and does presentations and like does amazing research and like a superstar at all levels. Plus, like she takes great care of her kids. Like just all levels, she's an amazing person. And her husband like put her, from what I understand, put her down and like, you know, was like that kind of person. But she managed throughout that marriage to never lose sight of her goal. And she like moved to another country and, you know, did like a PhD and like went to like a postdoc, and like she just really was you know, achieving her goals despite the husband who put her down emotionally and said like, told her you're nothing or whatever, that kind of thing. And I could see like Poppy did that as well. Even though she had 𝗪𝗟 putting her down and like gaslighting her, she managed to move to the city. She graduated college and she moved to the city and she got a job despite 𝗪𝗟 suffocating her. And like she just never let him quash that part of her. Like even though she was in doubt of herself and like didn't know if she was, you know, she should leave, she managed to push through and achieve her dreams. So go Poppy.
Serious strength right there to be able to do that despite having someone tell you that you shouldn't be feeling the way you're feeling and that you're not valid in your opinions. That is some serious like goals right there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And that's, I think, like the core of inner strength that Tora sees in her, maybe, or feels in her, you know, because if she was a complete weakling, like, yeah, he likes her because she's soft and mushy and sweet, but like if she was if she had no inner core that was strong, they wouldn't be able to connect.
She would have made it past episode 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously.
Also, speaking of which, episode 26 is the one where she gets in the car with Tora leaving Quincy's house, and they stop at the supermarket, and at the very end of the episode she gets a call from Mr. Lamb. And they have that nice little conversation in the middle where Poppy gets a little bit surprised by her sexual interest in Tora, and Tora says, like, no, like, if you want me out of your life, let's go. We'll do the dinner tonight, and we'll, you know, have this over and done with. And then 47 is making out in his kitchen.
Okay, so we're just that those were relevant then.
I mean, both of those are very significant episodes in terms of they significantly advance the relationship between Poppy and Tora, but beyond that, I don't really see.
That was just the universe.
Might just be Easter egg.
Yeah, I think it might be a case of confirmation bias, but that's okay.
I'll take it.
I mean, it's the least harmful confirmation bias you can have in 2020, so
it's most enjoyable. Yeah.
Okay,
so we love it.
We've got Erdene being an amazing friend now, like obviously being there for her, but also giving her space. But she's a woman that sees that man has got some goods. Yeah. She is a healthy girl.
She has a healthy appreciation for the masculine form.
Exactly.
Also channeling all our thoughts, because Lily knows that we like have to express ourselves. So she's allowing Erdene, she's putting our words in Erdene's mouth.
Yeah. Yes, she's a very generous creator.
Yeah. So this is, we quote because it is the best. He looks like one majestic, fuckable stallion. You lucky minx.
Her face is I love it.
And she has the audacity to say yes, but that's got nothing to do with me. Poppy, what planet are you on?
Okay, absolutely loved this part, because besides just like the cute art, like she's holding Erdene's face, like it's just adorable. Like I can picture doing that to my friends. I probably would have been drinking before I start touching them and squishing their faces, but like, well, maybe not. But like Poppy's talking about being how did she phrase it? Where is it? Like something about being like the creeper in the corner staring. Here, I'm the creeper that lurks in the corner staring at people like him, while he's literally being the creeper in the corner staring at her. So cute.
Oh,
these 2 nuggets.
So yeah, and he's like biting his lip. He's at the bar. There's these attractive women who are wearing dark colors and more revealing clothing, just staring at him because he's gorgeous. And he is, he's fixated on Poppy, and he's biting his lip. That's how fixated he is. He's like, probably like, don't look at her, or like, I don't know what he's feeling exactly, some kind of sexual tension, nerves at being at the party or
That
whatever.
sound
But
that tea kettle makes right before it just like starts screaming when, yeah, that's Tora.
Yeah, it's just percolating. It's ready to blow.
Right, I was just like,
So little side note, I'm not confirmed in this, so I'm pretty sure. I follow one of Lily's assistants, Kuromono, on Instagram, and I'm pretty sure she drew the girls at the bar, and they're just so cute. Like but they look like her style. So like if anyone wants to go check out her Instagram or her Patreon, they're really good because
I actually just subscribed to her on Friday because Lily mentioned the background artist and she expressed appreciation for the amazing job they did. So I was trying to find them on Patreon, and the only one, not Patreon, on Instagram, the only one I could find was Kuromono. So
her
I'd
art
love
is
to like.
her art is
What?
gorgeous. I'm not positive with this. They look like her style. So I'm pretty sure she does like some of the background people and stuff. And so she's just got beautiful art. So anyway,
Yeah, I'd also like to point out that we now have 3 new Poppy mom candidates.
we do 3 more. Just slap them on the pile. They're just a lot of plastic surgery.
I'll show myself out.
No, Leslie, this is very
person
important.
to put on a hat, like a tinfoil hat for Poppy's mom.
Yeah.
No, we want to have as many candidates as possible. We want to be objective. We want to cast a wide net. We want to find her. We're putting on our PI hats, okay? And we follow every lead. This is very serious investigative work we're doing.
This poor lady when she shows up.
So, anywho, we got this gorgeous shot. And yes, I love what Poppy does. She turns her head and she's like, and Erdene rightfully says, she's like, is that your self-esteem speaking? She's like, no, this is my eyes.
It's my eyes.
How may we assist you today?
I love it. It's so real. Like the ability to capture the conversation that happens between 2 like women who are BFFs is so hard because the conversations like change and move so quickly because like when women talk with their friends, they're like on that like subliminal wiring. It was so good. I gushed about it on Patreon. I'll leave it there. I'll leave like my fangirl ranting over Lily's ability to do that right there. But yeah, that's
it's so related. Really, it's this whole thing. Like I can feel like this is a girls' night out. Like it's so, again, this whole story is just so real. There's
not like a fake girls' night out that happens in Hollywood movies and things like that, where you're just like, no, no one talks to each other that way. It's so real.
Yeah, no, this is real life. This is happening somewhere. It's just an alternate universe, but it's existing for sure.
Yeah. Amazing. Love it. And they both have like deadpan faces here. You know, Erdene with her like sarcasm about like, okay, Poppy, you clearly don't have eyes and like you just have bad self-esteem here. And Poppy being like, no, it's because, you know, this is the way she sees the world. Like Tora is amazing and she's not.
The Greek god.
Yeah.
Funny girl. And then, but she thinks to herself, she's like, well, he did swoop you off the ground and escort me into the club. I'm like, what about the fact that he kissed you like 10 times? You really not forget?
Minor detail.
Oh, I don't understand Poppy. I really don't. I guess jewelry pulled the number on her, or she's like scared of even thinking about a relationship with him because of the mafia, or I don't know what it is.
And I think honestly, it's like, it's easy to get a kiss from somebody. It's really hard to know that you're actually deeply cherished and valued.
Okay, so
maybe had like any kind of deep like conversation about relationships or anything. Like there was just kind of like literally it was like, until I get a girlfriend, this will be fun. Like, how would you, if someone said that to you after a kiss, like, it's not a bad thing. They're like experimenting with each other, which like, there's no promises of anything more than that. There haven't been. So like, you don't want her to be that like psycho, like not girlfriend that's like, we're girlfriend and boyfriend now. And he's like, whoa, back it up, sweetie. Like, but like, they actually have something that like is so much deeper than that like, I'm glad that they're like testing waters instead of jumping into it, because like it shows they're actually like considering, they're enjoying themselves, but they're not getting ahead of themselves, because there's a lot to take in for this. Like they're from completely different worlds, and also they both had really shitty relationships before this. Tora through like all of his clan, and Poppy through jewelry. So like I don't think anyone should take anything for granted. Like, yeah, a kiss is literally just a kiss here.
But also, if you see the potential of the connection between the two of you and you want to make sure that you do it right, you proceed with caution.
Yeah.
So I think this is where like my background, I interviewed my husband last week for the special that I'm going to do. I have to edit all the videos now. The husband special, like the partner special really. And he asked me like, you know, we're Jewish, as I mentioned, every single podcast. And he's like, oh, should I wear my kippah? I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, hello, I talk about being Jewish like every single podcast. So my background, like I grew up with totally gender segregated. We didn't talk to guys. Like we didn't even admit that we liked guys. Like I only talked about it with like my best friend. But so for me, like a kiss is like, that's it, you're married. I mean, I only like, you don't touch, you're not supposed to touch until you're married. And like most people where I come from actually keep that. The first guy I touched was my husband before we were married, whatever. But but anyway, so like for me, like the way I look at like this whole thing is like when people touch each other or they kiss each other, hug each other, I'm like, that to me is like, you only do that with someone you're going to marry. Right. So I think I have a little bit of a different view, but I hear it. For Tora and Poppy, they probably have the view you're talking about.
Yeah. But it works. It fits. You can kind of put your own spin on all. That's kind of the whole thing I love about anything literary based is like you put your own spin on most of these stories and they're still like 100% like life lessonable to you for whatever way you fit it into your life.
Right. And in either event, they're being careful because the other person is important to them. They're not going to burn through it, you know, because they subconsciously see the other person as disposable. You know, neither of them are treating this like a flame.
Absolutely. And then
Tora's drooling in the corner. That's as complex as his brain is handling right now.
He needs a few more strawberries.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's why he's biting his lip. He's trying to like, so he doesn't need a glass for all that drool.
Yeah. So we have Poppy's dress finally, which I thought this was a cute way of doing it, especially since like, again, this was very relatable. Like when I go out with friends, like it's always the girlfriends you're showing off the dress for. You're never putting on a dress for a guy, rarely putting on a dress for a guy. It's usually like you're getting dolled up for yourself and for your girlfriends to have a fun night out. So I feel like this was cute where it's like, Erdene, want to see the dress? She's like, oh my God, yes. And then they have like their little fashion show.
Yeah, and meanwhile, right, unbeknownst to Poppy, he's like, side-eye glance is so cute.
He's checking out the fashion show from afar.
Kettle sounds intensify.
Yes.
Adorable.
This dress is so great for Poppy though. It's not so over the top. Like it, you know, if she came out with something that was total runway, that wouldn't have worked for Poppy.
Yeah. So like I find I don't normally focus on the clothing all that much in stories, except for this webtoon, because it seems like the comments in webtoon are like, they're like fashion police. Like I never knew that this was a thing.
You're reading this webtoon for free. Why are
I literally, it blows my mind every time, but like this is like
the fashion is what you complain about.
This is like the third time I've seen like people talking about fashion, and like, which is fine. Like I get that people really like fashion. I like fashion in general, but I can't claim to have any like higher knowledge of like what actually looks good. But like this works for her. It's absolutely friggin' adorable. Like I would love to wear it. It fits her body type. Like she just looks absolutely stunning. And like you're right. So I thought when I first saw this, my first thought was if you've ever seen the movie She's Just Not That Into You.
Yeah.
Like Scarlett Johansson does like this. She's sitting on the couch. She's asking, I forget what the other actor's name is, but she's like asking him like, if you had to pick two categories for me, like from cute, funny, smart, and sexy, what would you pick? And he said smart and sexy, or cute and sexy. And she's like, no, like we don't want to be all from the looks column. And I'm just like, my first thought was like, you look sexy and cute at the same time. Like you're all
yeah,
that's cute.
We know she's smart as hell.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's hilarious.
Yeah,
right now she's being cute and sexy at the same time. She's just like a walking oxymoron, and it's excellent.
Absolutely. Yes, she's a walking oxymoron. I love that.
It's like you're in like ruffles. Those shouldn't be sexy, and yet they are. And also you're wearing a present from your grandma.
Yeah.
Feisty hamster wearing a sexy grandma approved cute dress. Like all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, also we like stand a girl who looks gorgeous and clearly does not have a thigh gap.
No, no, not at all. And I love it.
She is flaunting her curves, and we are here for it all the way.
Absolutely.
And she also looks like, speaking of cute, she looks very happy. She looks cute and happy. Like she has this huge
Yes.
smile and she's like this. And you see like she's proud of
so
herself.
pretty in that dress.
She's feeling herself, and that's how it should be.
Yep.
And that, by the way, we talk about that. Like, I know we had a long discussion on Patreon about the kind of dress she would have, but if she would walk in wearing like a super sexy dress that's revealing, not only would it be out of character, she wouldn't feel comfortable in it. Like she's happy, she's radiating, and that kind of joy like counts for so much more than just showing more skin. You know, if you're happy and comfortable with yourself and you like who you are, that is what makes you attractive.
Oh my God, I love that you just said that. So like whenever I go shopping with somebody, my like people do this for me, so I've started doing it for others, where like I'll throw something in there that like they might not try on for themselves because they just don't, it's out of their comfort zone. And like I'll think they look stunning in it, but at the end of the day when they put it on and they say, I don't know about this, my answer is always, you need to feel confident in it. You have to love the way you look in it. If you don't get it, because like half of pulling off a look is knowing that you like the way you look in it and not giving a damn about everyone else's opinions. So I'm so glad you said that, because like really like you should be dressing for yourself. You should be happy in what you're wearing, and then that confidence makes you glow that much more. And she's glowing here.
Yep. Mic drop.
Yeah.
Darling. And Tora is captivated by that glow. So cute. There's just like a million panels of him looking. And then we see
Damien
is feeling second staged. What's the word? Understaged.
upstaged.
Upstage.
Second fiddle, upstaged.
Poor Damien, his beautiful neck tattoos, not enough. His pink hair floating over his eyes, not enough. His intense
Damien
eyebrows.
is not pink enough to compete with all the pink that Poppy brought.
No, poor
I was about to
Damien.
go over. Yeah, that.
Damien is just second place, and
So,
more of his snark. He's like, you need a glass for that drool, big bro. So yeah, that is
Got a
snark.
problem with it?
so
Poor Tora.
I don't know if I read so like I feel like a lot of the times these panels can be really cinematic. Like in the episode in the restaurant where Tora was pushing past Poppy, like you can see like Poppy or Tora behind Poppy, then he like pivots, and then like there's his feet in front of Poppy. Like you actually see movement in these panels.
You actually talked about that in that podcast. Like you highlighted that phrase.
So like I love the way that happens, and the way it happens, as if it's like gained by God, the way Lily creates this. But these panels, I'm not sure if I'm reading this right, but I kind of liked the idea of like, so it was like Tora was looking at Poppy, and then Damien's kind of like in his way, and then it looks kind of like he pivots to look back at Poppy, like he kind of like leans over, like, hold on, you blocked my view, and then Damien's like, yo bro, I like goes back into his view, like I'm trying
That's
to
how I saw it too.
and then okay, so and then he's just like, why are you in my space, bro? Like I'm doing
Dude, I was admiring the artwork. Go away. Like,
I just thought
down
that
in
was so
front.
I'm glad
Damien.
I'm gonna accept that as a reality then, because I have one person confirming my theory, so that makes it true.
Yeah.
That's how
I just enable. That's all I'm here for.
Yeah.
And Tora literally is like, what do you want now? Could you just like twist the knife in more, Tora? Like really? He's like bracing his teeth as he says it.
Yes.
I have a feeling that this is not the first time Damien has pulled something annoying like this.
Probably
That's
not.
just my gut feeling.
Attention seekers usually don't get the hint very easily, and he seems like an attention seeker.
So he's like, isn't that, so he doesn't connect it to anything romantic yet. He says, isn't that young master 𝗪nci's editor, the chick you escorted in here?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And now they're walking along and we see this panel is just zoomed in of Poppy's torso. Just it reminds me of that panel we got of Tora's torso and then his crotch area. So it's like the equivalent. And poor guy. And then he does a whistle. And he's like, straight or not, I guess we can all appreciate a nice rat. And then he
Attaboy, Tora.
elbowed.
I mean, like, tell me where he said something wrong. I'm not seeing it. Like, Tora, like, it's not untrue. So sorry, bro. It's an accurate statement.
Poor guy. Yep, exactly. And
And
but
all
Tora,
the guys crowd around, and Tora just is not looking at any of them. He's still just like off in La La Land.
yep. But Tora's like basically possessive of, I don't know if possessive of Poppy or protective of Poppy, or like don't disrespect her, even though like, yeah, as you were saying, it's just accurate, right?
Well,
And-
I think that each of them have each other up on a pedestal. I think I've said this before in other podcasts, but like the way they each look at each other, where Poppy was like, look at him, like why would he ever look at me? And he's sitting here just being like, don't like, and he
half an episode of him staring.
Yeah, and he also wanting others to respect her, because like I feel like he looks at her as something that's like to be revered, to be respected, like she's kind of like out of his reach for a reason. Like he thinks that she's better than their world is what I have gotten from this. That she doesn't belong there. She's pure and innocent, and I think he puts her too much on a pedestal, to be honest. Which I mean, like, what woman doesn't want to be put on a pedestal a little bit? But like, I think he definitely reveres her in kind of like an untouchable way. And when someone else is objectifying her, he's kind of like, yo, like, do not talk about her that way. Like, she's not some chick in a club. She's Poppy. She's a girl that should not be here in the first place. Like, give her the respect she deserves. And she does not see herself that way, which is interesting.
Yeah. And of course, you know, that brings up an interesting point what you say about how, you know, Tora reveres her in this sort of too untouchable, too pure way. We've kind of had Tora come off of Poppy's untouchable pedestal after that night.
Nice sweatshirt, Emily.
Nice sweatshirt. Where, you know, she reamed him out for like his crappy behavior and dumping all of that nasty baggage on her, the way he treated her in the restaurant. Like, Tora has already fallen off of Poppy's pedestal. She's still here, clearly, you know, like she sees him as a human. It'll be interesting, I think, to see at what point Poppy falls off of Tora's pedestal. You know, at what point he stops seeing her as what moment, what event, what conversation, what argument brings Poppy from this like too pure for this world place to real human.
So I'm thinking about it. I'm wondering, I don't know if there'll be a moment of need, because Poppy has talked to him about like her vulnerability before. So I think that wouldn't do it. But maybe if he sees more of the tougher side, where she does something mean or aggressive or something that is like not so nice, maybe that would be like, hey, wait, she's a human being. Like, she's not perfect.
More stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen it a little bit. I'm trying to think of, I know there have been times where like when she was talking about eating and again, they're still very cutesy. There's nothing is serious. So, but like when she's eating the little, like onigiri animal.
Oh
thing,
yeah, you're a sadist.
Yeah, he's just like, whoa, like you're a little bit of a sadist. Or when she's talking about Mr. Lamb and like, Tora's like talking like kind of kindly of him. And
she's like, oh, I thought he was a dick.
Yeah, so like I feel like he has the idea lingering. It's not like a falling off a pedestal moment,
right?
But like he's definitely at least started to realize that like she's not a little angel completely. Like there is a darker part to her somewhere in there.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out going forward.
But also, I love that you're talking about like knocking each other off their pedestals, because like I was 20 when I met my husband, and I was very idealistic, and I literally was like, you know, I know people tell me that nobody's perfect, but I found the one that is.
Yeah. So sometimes you have to stop seeing them as an idea and start seeing them as a person.
It took forever, and it was gut wrenching, and it was a stupidity on my part, because I just had this really unrealistic expectation for like what a person could be, and I built him up to be like, oh my God, he's amazing, he's perfect, and then boom, I was like, oh my God, he's not perfect. And it was like, it took years to get over that. I mean, it sounds crazy, but I was just very unrealistic. So I love that we're talking about this, because it's so important. Like, you know, you said we're omniscient, right? So we see Tora, you know, both of their vulnerabilities and weaknesses and negative sides, but like, yeah, like they're people, and they're good and they're bad, and they'll be good and bad together. And there'll be times where they like, you know, if they become a nice old married couple, which we want them to be, like, there'll be times where they like are mad at each other and they hate each other and they fight and they go to bed and they don't talk to each other, because That's what life is, and they're people.
Yes, agreed. And speaking of real life, so maybe this is a really bad segue, but I kind of like it. They're asking where 𝗪𝗲 is, and they say when he's done with his shift, he'll be here. And I'm like, this poor guy, he's just always working. Like literally, there's a constant reminder of just like, where's 𝗪𝗲? He's working, like always. That is where he lives. He lives at work. I'm not sure has an apartment.
Seeing 𝗪𝗲, he's just like low-key my favorite character.
He's hustling. He's getting shit done. So
also, anytime 𝗪𝗲 shows up, something existential happens with Tora.
He's amazing. He's a therapist.
So if he shows up in the next episode, shit's going down.
You're absolutely right.
I don't make the rules.
So I'm convinced that Mr. Lamb is like the catalyst for everything. That he's the one that like brings everyone together. Like he's like the overarching baby that like is like guiding everyone like to get together. But 𝗪𝗲 is like the heart. 𝗪𝗲 is the one that's like keeping. Mr. Lamb gets them together. 𝗪𝗲 is keeping them together.
You pointed out that Tora was mad into Poppy, which led to the dinner, which led to Quinn's like
he got
science
Mr. Lamb
Poppy, which led to this. So
God, all these characters. How do you like? We need to get. I feel like what is it? Is it Always Sunny in Philadelphia or something? Where like the guys like got the crazy like murder board in the background with all the wires. Like I feel like every episode is that. Like Lily's mind see that all the time. It's like this is connected to this, which is connected to this. Like, how is this not messed up yet? It's flowing perfectly, but there's so many connections.
And by the way, that motion, that's why we need video.
Exactly. We need spazzing out in the background. But that's what I feel like.
Speaking of images, we can't forget this amazing image of Damien recovering from his egg bump on his head. The same thing that like Quincy got after Tora hit him. So cute, so adorable. I think he has a little tear there. I don't know if it's his eye.
I hadn't even noticed. I just thought that was his hand. Nope.
Yeah, me too. Right. I didn't notice it the first time either. But maybe on the 10th time. I didn't read it 10 times. But other people pointed it out. And adorable. Poor guy. Right. He's like in shock. He doesn't even say anything after he's been hit. The other guys are reporting that there's no one here to worry about, which by the way, will there be someone to worry about?
There's someone to worry about.
Yeah. I was hoping for like, I don't know, whatever Lily gives us, I'll be happy with. But I was thinking maybe that this party would devolve into some kind of crazy and violent something or other, and Poppy and Tora would have to escape, and Tora would defend her with his life and dodge the bullets, or drama. That'd be nice.
You're hoping for like a purple hyacinth Midnight Poppyline crossover with like gore and bodies everywhere. Is that where you're going with this? I
actually when I first started reading Purple Hyacinth, I turned it off after the first chapter. I was like, I don't do violence. And then Patty recommended it. I was like, okay, I like Patty's recommendations. I'll read it. And now I really like it. It's probably my second favorite. And now you're wishing
dead bodies at Poppy's birthday party. This is what you have devolved to.
Sorry. I don't even watch action movies. I don't watch violence in real life, but a little bit of violence would help them get closer. That's all I'm saying.
Well, if you're watching, instead of like a makeout session, Mindy's requesting, dead bodies and blood. That would be ideal.
Oh my God. If anyone I knew would hear this, they'd be like, Mindy, like I haven't watched a violent movie in like, I don't know, since I was like 15 because of that. So like it's a little ironic, but I'll do it for Tora and Poppy.
When there's a mass murder scene instead of a makeout scene next episode, we can all pitchfork and tar and feather you.
No, you'll thank me, because then Poppy and Tora will somehow use that to connect to
They'll
each other.
have a heart-to-heart in the supply closet.
Yeah.
Supply closet. Please, for the love of God, I need that.
I mean, I said, they were going to be making out in a supply closet like it was a Shonda Rhimes show in no time, and they didn't do that in the office. Like, what the heck?
Mm-hmm. There's plenty of time, okay?
There are supply closets and clubs. There are still opportunities.
I mean, there's janitors closets at clubs. I mean, there's plenty of this could still happen.
Somebody's got to mop the cave floor.
That's what I was saying. There's buckets in the supply closet. I mean, you need those things with Tora around. Sorry.
Well
also,
done.
Yes, this is another thing that people around me have, like, how have I changed? I now make sexual jokes a lot, where I never made sexual jokes. My husband's like, it's no use. Like, he used to always make sexual jokes to tease me and to pull my leg, and I'll be like, yo, Al. And now he doesn't get it. Now I just respond back to him sexually. It's like, what happened to you? I can't tease you anymore.
Confused.
Lily Dusk happened to you.
Yes. Lily Dusk and Patreon happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. Okay. So speaking of Patreon and scintillating and mops and buckets, we have another amazing panel of Tora, who is, again, completely ignoring everyone around him because he's watching Poppy and Erdene just come closer, and he's like, has those shock symbols because he's like, probably, I don't know, his heart's pounding out of his chest or something. And
he's noticing that they're on the move. Like, I feel like that's very bodyguard duty of him. Like, he always knows where they are. Like, he's got all these guys surrounding him. He's like, he's literally keeping track of a million things right now. But there's movement of Poppy and he's immediately trained on them. Like, that is impressive to be juggling that much information. Like, there's a lot of people in this club, and yet, like, boom, they move, and he's on it.
Yep, it's really cute.
And
yeah, his eyes are widening, if you notice, and it's so cute. His eyes are widening, and then we have like 2 panels zooming in on Poppy, and I think it's just admiring her beauty and her smilingness and her happiness.
It's captivated.
Yeah.
We love you, Tora. We love you, Poppy.
I also love, so this is it's a really just random tidbit, but I love arm grabs. Like, I have one of my friends, like, whenever she gets very excited, the first thing she does is she grabs your arm. Like, she won't even know you. She will meet a stranger in a bar and like she gets herself into so much trouble. But like, the first thing she does is she's just very touching. She'll just grab you. And I'm just like, you can't just go grabbing strangers. But like, when it's with friends, like, I think it's such a comforting thing that like you're walking arm linked, you know, you just got like your hand on, and like the 2 of them are walking, and they're just like having their little girls, you know, night out, where she's walking to the dance floor or the bar, wherever they're headed, and Poppy's just got like a cute little hand on her back and then one hand on Erdene, and it's just like, I don't know, it's so familiar, it's so like, I don't know, I love it so much.
Yeah, by the way, I just realized she has a gold bag with her, and you know what could fit inside that gold bag besides for condoms? Mr. Taser.
That was gonna be fun.
Oh, girl brought her taser. You know she did.
Oh, you're right. What a smart idea. I like that. I think that's very cute and very smart and very possible.
Maybe
You're very Poppy.
I'm very Poppy, yes.
The pink taser, of course.
Yes, of course. It matches her dress. Also, so we haven't mentioned this yet, but that choker for the necklace, for the outfit, like, and that's just like one more little thing of just like, I don't know, that's what makes it sexy. Like, it's you know,
coquettish.
Yeah. Oh, God, it's just like, yeah, kittenish.
It's playing cute while Tora's trying very hard not to combust.
Yes, I just want, okay, no, I'm going off to secret garden territory. I'm just gonna everyone's minds just wander what could happen.
Yes, me too. Yes.
Tora wants to do things that involve that choker.
Like, what?
Tora wants to do things that involve that choker. We can leave it there and it remains PG-13.
Do with it what you will. Yeah.
It's awesome. Batting myself just thinking about it. Yep. Anywho.
And with that, we have until next Friday night.
Yes.
Yeah. We can end with
exceptional
the ultimate thirst that just underlies all of Midnight Poppyland ever since the first episode where Tora's unbuttoned shirt and unbuttoned pants just reveal to us his glory.
Absolutely. Give me everything.
So, do we have anything final to say on this episode before we all go be with our thoughts?
Like, I always try and like think of like one overarching just like tidbit to take away from this episode, but normally, I don't know if people listen to me before on podcasts, but normally I have like literally every single panel planned out with notes on it, and this time I'm kind of seat of the pantsing it for this one. But I don't know, my main takeaway from this entire episode was just the background, the actual setting of this was just absolutely out of this world, and I want to go to this cave and just live here.
Yeah, I mean, for me it was like we say fluff with like, oh, this was filler, but it was also just so much of a relationship is the little moments, and this is an episode that just puts a magnifying glass on the mutual appreciation that Poppy and Tora have for one another. You know, there's not necessarily like a heck of a lot of plot moving forward, although like Damien's gonna come back. Damien's gonna cause problems. Calling it now. Like those seeds are planted. But beyond that, I think it just let us sink in and settle into the way Tora and Poppy see one another, which is really important.
Yes.
And I also just really enjoyed it because there's so much that was just cute.
It was. This was cute is definitely the overarching.
Yeah.
Cute
I
and
needed
sexy.
it.
Poppy's dress was the explanation of this episode.
This is cute and sexy. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
So it's funny, you said you think Damien will be like the cause of trouble. Actually reminded what people were talking about with Damien. So, we know that Tora sent his men to watch Poppy's apartment, but either Damien wasn't one of those men, or he sent them to watch the apartment without telling them, specifying, okay, watch out for that chick, But the fact that he called her editor, he doesn't know who she is yet. So it's it's very interesting to see who knows about Poppy and how does he protect her without letting them know about her, right? And calling too much attention to her.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, interesting. He doesn't seem to know who she is.
They're walking very fine lines at the moment.
No kidding.
Yeah, which is give me a little bit of panic. I'm particularly a romance person. I obviously like when you need to have a deeper story to keep my attention. I don't just want romance. I need this. But when it gets very stressful, I start panicking and just I'm just gonna be sitting here in my little hoodie freaking out. One more pub before we leave. Go to Lily's Redbubble because they have lots of cool things. I'm sure we have discussed it on these podcasts before, but you can turtle with me inside our Baltimore turtlenecks hiding.
The irony is that you're using the Baltimore sweater to give you comfort and safety, really.
I have a complicated relationship with Vincent, okay? So
oh my God, is that why you got it?
No
way. Oh my God. I remember that. That's one of the first things I remember about you. When I first joined into Poppyland and I started reading Patreon, whatever, I was like, oh, you're the chick who's into Vincent.
Yeah, I mean, no, actually, he's awful. I completely admit he's awful. But I just love messed up people.
Vincent can die slowly and painfully, and I will not cry.
Yeah, that's fine. I won't either. I just will wish that I had at least one encounter with him and a teaser before that. I mean, that's all I ask.
Wow, what kind of stuff are you into, Emily? Anyway.
Not that exciting.
Oh boy.
But this story definitely brings out the tiny bit of extrovert in me. So here I am.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, this was hilarious as usual. I mean, it was deep and profound. By the way, this episode, because the background it was shorter than other episodes. I was wondering if this podcast episode would be shorter than other ones. And we're like, no,
here we are,
almost 2 hours again.
We're a chatty bunch. We can't help ourselves.
We're a bunch of smart ladies. We have ideas. We explore tangents. Oh no.
Oh no. Although we have perfectly beautiful work to inspire us. Even when it's short, look how much information we spent 2 hours on a quote unquote shorter episode than usual. And it wasn't short. This is just how much information was packed into this small portion of their night. It's just blows my mind.
Love it. If only they were real and could hear us talk about them.
Yeah. Boost up they would have the biggest egos in the universe.
They would be disbelieving. As they should, because they're characters. But since when does your life, wow, that would be a great premise for a movie when you discover that you're actually a cartoon character.
I can dig it.
Interesting. A little bit of what's that movie with Jim Carrey, right? Where he's the Truman Show. He's actually a character in a TV show. Okay. Well, I'm getting a bit meta. And we all know that obviously this whole Midnight Poppyland is just one of Quincy's novels. So
I love that idea. So cute.
Okay, guys, this was so much fun. It was hilarious. We did a lot of funny things here. It was great.
Well, thank you. This was absolutely wonderful. I'm excited for next time.
Thank you.
Yep.
See you next time.
Okay. Bye, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.